Hey guys, Lisa Figuero here, board certified criminal defense attorney in Florida. Here today to talk to you about the Afroman trial. You know what's funny is that not only had I heard it because we've been doing these videos and a lot of the people that we follow and watch trials with were watching, but even on one of my lawyer women Miss Esquire Facebook groups, they were like, is anybody watching this Afroman trial? And so anyways, wanted to give you guys my thoughts on that. So a little background in case you hadn't heard. Afroman is a rapper, singer, entertainer that's been around for years. Some of you may have heard the song back from the 2000s, Before I Got High, something about I cleaned my room because I got I didn't clean my room because I got high. I don't know. All I remember was the because I got high. That line is what everybody knows. In fact, even I watched a little bit of jury selection, and when they're asking the jurors, anybody heard of Mr. Foreman? And you know, no one's heard of like his actual name. And this is in his community where he lives, but they asked, you ever heard about the song Before I Got High? And or something, and I got high. And then there were a few jurors that actually had heard the song. So anyway, the issue was that the police had gotten a search warrant to go to his house, and they executed almost like a raid. They went in there for a search warrant. Now, I don't know, and if you guys heard, definitely let me know, but what the basis of the search warrant was or what they were actually going there to find. But if police have a search warrant, depending on what they're looking for. So if it is a rifle, let's say a long gun, a rifle, you can't go check in little drawers. Like, it has to be where you might find whatever it is, the subject of the search warrant. But in cases, let's say if it was a drug warrant or for marijuana, because of the song, I don't know what their probable cause was, but supposedly some judge signed off on probable cause to be able to search the house. And let's say it was just for marijuana. Well, marijuana could be hidden anywhere. So they could search the entire residence and sometimes the curtilage, which is around the property. And they did that. And during that process, he had cameras inside his property, surveillance, security cameras. And so afterwards, he wasn't there when this happened. So there's a bunch of police, they're all there doing their job, they're searching for whatever. They find minimal stuff, like nothing big, nothing life-shattering, but they shattered his door, his gate, and they actually disconnected or broke his cameras or something to that effect. So then there was no security footage to be able to show what they did. And they also found money, cash that was at the house, and they seized that, which is normal. But what else is, I don't know if normal, but it is not uncommon for my clients to have cash taken from their home, and somehow the amount is slightly different than what the client remembers. And unfortunately, we have to take the police officer's word as to what they found. But there was some sort of discrepancy where Afroman's attorney, they were able to show that there was some sort of error in the process of counting or their process, even though it wasn't straight up admitted to, I guess, that any money was stolen. But because of all of that, Afroman had apparently, Mr. Foreman, had contacted the police and, hey, I want my money back. Can you guys fix my gate? Because there was nothing huge that came from this. It wasn't like this huge criminal case. There wasn't, and not that they could prove even the stuff that was found. That's called constructive possession. I've had cases where 300 pounds of marijuana were found in a house, but no one was home and multiple people shared the room. And that case ended up being dismissed because you can't prove whose it is. So here there was nothing like that. So now he's like, hey, can you guys fix my gate? And no. And so he got upset and he exercised his right to post some stuff online. And you guys all know how to post stuff online. And he was upset. He kind of called them out, may have called them some names. And I'll show you, because that just sounds kind of like not that big of a deal, but some of it may have been a little. Let's see some of the posts that I saw. And it started out with post. So when this all happened, he started like posting some things. Like there was this one post he did on X, on social media, and said, Deputy Phil Dip S word, receding hairline Collins. So making fun of how he looks. He's only 20 years old, LOL. And this job is stressing him out. The pressure of finding pounds of marijuana and kidnapped victims in suit coat pockets is tremendous, LOL. Do you know this guy? Are you friends with this guy? Did you see the way he went through my suits? Did he find any pounds of weed or kidnapping victims in my suit coat pocket? If this guy is your friend, I wouldn't trust his methamphetamine crack A alone in my house. Hey, this is the guy that thinks a 6'4", 300-pound man is hiding behind the couch. I'm guessing Afroman's the 6'4", 300-pound man. So they're looking all over, and this is what I was talking about, that they can search anywhere to supposedly find the drugs, and maybe it was kidnapped victims. I guess they thought that there were kidnapped victims there. And there was some of the body cam footage, because then that becomes the issue next. In the body cam footage, there was one officer who made some comment about him being like a sex addict or fanatic or something like that. So they're saying things that are maybe not so kind, which isn't uncommon of police when they're doing these interactions, because they think everybody's a criminal and everybody's up to no good. And, you know, let me not make generalities, but for the most part, it happens. And so bottom line is he starts making these things, and as followers and subscribers do, someone started commenting and kind of giving him some ideas. At one point, he went and requested, or got, probably in the course of any kind of discovery, you receive, and this is public records, anyone can request body cam footage for any police activity, even if it's your case or not. So unless there's like children involved or a victim in it where it would need to be redacted or confidential, it's pretty much public record. So he gets the body camera footage of the police search. And in that, there's this one piece where there's this one officer that is in the kitchen and allegedly eyeballing a lemon pound cake. So there's this cake on the counter, and it wasn't even Afroman's idea. He had just, like, because he was posting, talking mess about this, because he's frustrated. They broke his door, they didn't fix it, they didn't charge him with anything as a result of this, and they're not compensating him for it. So he's using his voice, his platform, his talent to then do this. And so one of his commenters like said, hey, it looks like he wants to eat the lemon pound cake. So I think he did an interview afterwards, and he talked about how it was one of the people that commented that gave him the idea. And then that became funny. So then they started posting this lemon pound cake, and then he ends up making a song and the whole lemon pound cake. And because this is satire, you know, satire, like forever people do commentary, political commentary. If you look at politics, even in the old days when they had newspapers, you'd have the cartoonist that makes a picture of like Richard Nixon with the big nose and exaggerated caricature, right? And that was allowed because these are public figures. And when you're a public figure, you are subject to public scrutiny, that people can make comments. They cannot like you. We see it all the time. We see it all the time on both sides of the political arena. And so this is no different. And law enforcement are public figures. And so through that, he ends up doing a song, Lemon Pound Cake, with, if I'm not mistaken, it sounds like Under the Boardwalk in the background, which it's a parody. Remember, in my day, that's dating it, Weird Al, whatever, he would do all these songs. You take somebody else's song and then you just put like a joke type lyric over it, and it's a satire, and then that was allowed. That's not like a copyright thing because you're just putting your own silliness. They're not gonna conflate it or confuse it with the actual artist. And so he did that with his little Lemon Pound Cake song. If you haven't heard it, it is kind of the jam.
His version of the jam?
Yeah, it's a jam, but it's a jam because it was already kind of a jam. It's a song that I know and like. You may not have heard it before. It may be, but if you haven't heard it, you may have just heard the Lemon Pound Cake one. But it blew up. What? My son just told me that Lemon Pound Cake, Drake did a song, and that really brought this to the forefront and to the surface, and now it's like totally blowing up. I even saw Afroman do an interview with Jake Tapper, like one of these official news shows. This has gone way more viral than anyone expected, but all right, we'll get to that. But check out the song, just in case you hadn't heard it.
It's the Lemon Pound Cake beat, no?
No, that's pound cake, not lemon pound. Okay, forget the Drake part. Take out the Drake. Yeah, oh, never mind, I looked it up. Drake ain't got nothing to do with this. That was way before this. And the beat is nothing like, yeah, so no relation, just a coincidence. Here's the actual Lemon Pound Cake from Afroman.
The Adams County Sheriff kicked down my door. Then I heard the glass break. They found no kidnapping victims, just some lemon pound cake. Mama's lemon pound cake.
And that's it. See, under the boardwalk. I can't sing. My daughter can sing. I cannot sing. But I do love music. Anyway, so yeah. So you see him? Oh, it's funny. I hadn't noticed his. See, I wore this shirt for Afroman, but that he's got this whole marijuana leaf suit, and in court he wore this straight up American flag 3-piece suit up in there, and his attorney on the day one was wearing an American flag tie with his suit. And the whole thing is First Amendment, freedom of speech. And we kind of talk about that when we talk about lyrics. How can this be used against us, freedom of speech? What are the limits to our ability to speak freely? And here he makes this whole lemon pound cake song, and then something about, what's the guy from Family Guy? Peter somebody. So then and then some kind of wrestler. So he's just making fun of the guy, and it's mean, maybe a little mean, but it's a little mean that they broke his stuff and didn't pay for it. And so the police got upset, and I get it, because sure, I guess their kids were being ridiculed at school. This song blows up. I think they made T-shirts. It's like a whole thing with the Family Guy picture of the cop that looks like the Family Guy guy. And there was all kinds of just disparaging, not so nice commentary. Maybe said that such and such, one of them was maybe sleeping with his wife, or maybe I slept with your wife. I don't know, just some craziness like that. Called them all thieves, just generally. And so it became a lawsuit to say that, one, we didn't give you permission to use our image, and that you painted us in a false light, and then defamation, where you're saying these things that are untrue. And then the defense is, I have a right. First, you guys are public officials. There's no right to privacy. You were in my house. You turned off the cameras, or we don't know what happened with his camera, so he can't really prove or show everything that happened, or what happened with the mysterious disappearance of maybe $400. And so if it's his opinion, it's his opinion. I think they're thieves, right? Or the cops are crooked. People say that all the time. Does that make it something that they can sue about? And you know what gets me with this, or I think what really caught my attention, is I don't know how many times I have gone to trial, how I've defended people whose face has been blasted all over the news, like if they're guilty, right? Their mugshot is there, and then we get a not guilty. Are they then doing another report to say how they were wrong? Do they remove those mugshots? No. I have so many clients who we have to like fight to try to get their pictures removed, even though we have a not guilty or a case that's dropped. Like here in a bunch of cities, because this is a big money grab for these people, because it's public record. These mugshots, Orlando, mugshots wherever you live, they have them everywhere, and they've got them online, and there's no accountability because they're all some sort of shell corporation. It's hard to get a hold of some corporate person to say, hey, you need to remove this, and it's hard to get a lawyer that's going to be willing to sue them. Bottom line is, hey, their argument is it's public record, so why not the reverse? Cops are in my house. I've got a public records request that shows me the police. This is my opinion of you. It should be fair game. Well, we didn't know. We didn't know. And this was really kind of a test run. And I don't think anybody was really paying attention so much to this trial until the end result. And some of the things he said, I think the most egregious was some sort of commentary. I think there was some sort of reference that one of the cops kind of like was a certified pedophile. No, something like that, something to that effect, that might be a little much, because they can't prove that, or can they, right?
Afroman said that.
You guys tell me. I haven't looked, but I had heard that was part of it. Yet the crux of the lawsuit hinged on this idea about calling him a thief, and how hard it was for them to go back to work. And so I don't know that there was a lot of proof. And in the defense, I heard them in closing arguments where they're basically telling the jury, like, who's going to believe this guy? Because he, I mean, it's a joke. This is how he entertains. He's an entertainer. This is hyperbole. These are exaggerations. And it's his opinion. And at the end of the day, it's like, he's allowed to say what he wants to say. Just like they could talk mess about him if they want to, and so that shouldn't be punished, and they don't deserve to be compensated for it, and he has the right to say these things. And we really didn't know how it was going to come out. One of the things that I thought was interesting, this was in Ohio. In Florida, in all our cases, in criminal cases and then in civil cases, after one side presents their case, for me, when the state presents their case, I can make a motion for judgment of acquittal. So basically, hey, you heard all the evidence, you should dismiss this because XYZ. In a civil case, they have something similar. Well, in their case, they did that. They argued that it should be dismissed to the judge, but we usually make those motions in front of the judge with the jury outside and not hearing it. In their case, they actually made that motion in front of the jury, and then the judge gave all the reasons why he was denying it in front of the jury, which was strange. Maybe that's normal. It was strange for me, but my concern was that, is the jury hearing it? Do they understand why the judge is doing it and that their job is different? Because it kind of made some people who were watching, Cat Williams was showing this, and they had pointed it out that, gosh, maybe the jury is going to think, hey, the judge doesn't think it's worthy of dismissal, so they're going to most likely fine for the plaintiff because they feel like that's where the judge was leaning, because why didn't the judge dismiss it? And why did they do that in front of the jury? But that's what surprised me when the jury came back. They had an ability to actually say, yeah, maybe he crossed the line a little bit, but we're not going to give him a lot of money. Kind of like on the Kanye case, where it's like, yeah, this way, but we're only going to give you this much money. We're not going to give you the millions you're asking for. But here, they straight up, not guilty, civil version. Basically, they found him not liable. They found for the defendant, meaning they ruled completely in his favor. This was free speech. These people weren't damaged. He was within his right. And then that was the end. And he was emotional when he came out of it. People were asking, you could tell. And I thought his testimony was good. I thought that his presence, like, this is real. Even though it seems like a joke, this is someone's life on his side too. I have a right to say what I want to say. You came in my house. You invaded my privacy with a search warrant. Then you broke my stuff, and I wasn't convicted of any kind of crime as a result of that. I don't get compensated. I can complain. And you know what? The people don't have to listen. I mean, haters gonna hate, right? People are gonna say what they're gonna say, and we just have to learn to tune out the noise. But it's an interesting test case to see what the limits are. And there's certain forms of speech. Hate speech is not allowed. Discriminatory, certain things are not allowed. Fighting words or threats. Recently, there was an arrest. We may do a video eventually on some juveniles that were arrested because of some words, right? So there are some things that they can put limits to our speech. But in this case, where it is opinion, where it is public, the rules are different, and the Constitution is strong on this issue, and the jury agreed. So that's it on this. I just wanted to give you guys my thoughts and take on it, and make sure you all also caught it. Thanks as always for watching. We'll be back with some more videos soon. Take care.